Welcome once again to your favorite channel, May TV, on your opinion. My name is Lovely Carrie, your anchor for today. Alright, have you subscribed yet? What are you waiting for? Click on the subscription button to keep having us. Then don't forget to also turn on your notification button so you can know when we post new videos. Once again, thank you for joining us. Yes, don't forget, let's have your comments. I want to know how you feel about our programs. Thank you. On your opinion today, we'll be talking about child abuse. Child abuse affects the whole continent, not just Africa, not just Nigeria. Children are being abused different ways all over the world. We have the emotional abuse, the physical abuse, sexual abuse, of course, and neglect. These are the types of abuse children go through. First, I want to let you know what abuse is. What do you think abuse is? Alright, let's go. Abuse is ill treatment of anything. Alright, abuse is ill treatment of anything, and when you check the dictionary, it means a wrong use of something. Children are a blessing to the world. So when we use them in a way that is different from the way that will make them happy or grow properly into adults that they are supposed to be, it becomes abuse. With me on the show is this gentleman
Moses Uba.
and woman.
I'm Racha Adekunu.
Thank you for coming on the show today. Alright, I have talked about what abuse is and types of abuse. Moses Amarachi, I would like to know your opinion on the causes of abuse. Why will parents or why will people want to abuse any child?
The first and number one factor that causes child abuse is poverty. You don't give what you don't have.
Okay.
So poverty in every way, mentally, emotionally, psychologically. When you're poor in those aspects, you can't give it. Intellectually, not being intelligent, when you're poor in that, you can't give it. You can't give what you don't have. So passing down to your children as well, if you're not smart, you're not intelligent, you don't have money, you can't give anything to your children, which is hereby abusing them. When you don't have money, you can't send your child to school, you can't feed them properly, you can't clothe them, you can't give them 3 square meal. It's an abuse, and people, the government, the community have to look on it, because it's not, poverty is not just a personal thing. A community can be poor, a country can be poor, and if a country is poor, the residents inside are poor. So we have to work on that.
And when a family is poor,
Yeah.
they tend to leave their children to their rich relatives to care for.
Yes.
And that's what many of us went through. Your parents are poor, they transfer your care to their relative, your uncles, cousin,
Share.
all right, but that is not for them to abuse you.
Yeah.
But all they are doing is, as these relatives, all they feel is or what they think is these relatives will be able to take care of these children as their own. But unfortunately, these children go there and face different kinds of abuse. Different kinds of abuse. They are still relatives. A child of 6 years old will send on errand 8 p.m., 7 p.m. What that particular relative cannot do. So his own child, as a child of 8 years, you see, when their own child are sleeping, that child is awake doing dishes.
Errands that they can't send their own child. That's serious.
Poverty.
So that is poverty, and that happens a lot in Africa.
Also, these for this transfer of responsibilities to relatives, we also find out that it might also be as a result of family problems like divorce. Yeah,
Okay.
divorce on the part, if the family is not together, they tend to be transfer, like some parent and the father and mother dragging who will separate.
Okay, divorce.
The child,
If the child eventually the custody of the child eventually is given to a partner who
that
cannot
be able to
care,
take care, like the man that cannot take care of the child properly,
and eventually the child is transferred to another a relative, a friend,
to take care
all
of
that.
Also,
And some of the friends these children are being transferred to may turn them to sex slaves.
Yes.
Slaves.
Seriously. And other social other abuse. I mean, they can even start using them to make money, like
What way?
Yes, like sending them, using them to collect, like in the northern part of the country. Though even that one, we find out that even parents are involved in it. They tend to marry out these children at a very tender age to get money from one Alhaji and all that. So it's a serious issue. So just these children at that early stage, you see a girl child of 12 years, 13 years
being sent out
into marriage because of money.
The child is not ready for it.
It's not ready for it. Even physically, physiologically, the child is not matured. So this is a serious abuse.
If you expose a child to what he is not psychologically ready for, what is complicated for his age, you are abusing him. Exposing a child to porn, to early marriage, 13-year-old, 14-year-old. Recently, I watched on Oprah Mini, I saw a girl who was weeping profusely on her wedding day. She was given hand in marriage to a man of 50 years. And where the girl is not, should be between 11 and 12. She's so young. And the community is not doing anything about it.
Also, another cause of child abuse is, I think, mental disorder. Mental disorder. Okay. When there is a psychological problem, when the parents are not psychologically balanced, so they tend to, overreact on issues that they are not supposed to. It might just be that the child misbehaved, that should have, a little scolding or something, but you find out that
just
they
overreact.
They beat. I've seen one even sitting, one very filthy fat woman sitting after
it
the whole
happens a lot when we were growing up in the village.
You see the woman with
all her weight
sitting on a little child.
It happens a lot. It happens a lot.
Very serious.
It happens a lot in the village.
Maybe could it be as a result of maybe they are not educated or what? I think so, since we find out these things happening more in the villages than the cities.
When you say psychological problems, it happens here. It happens in the head. Most of them, they are victims of child abuse themselves. So they grew up with that trauma, that thing has printed in their head from small, and they're matured and they now have a home. So they feel the same way their parents dealt with them. They'll pass pass it to their own children the same way or even more.
Some even think is the proper
Is
way
the
of
proper
training.
way.
Because the way what you introduce
Yeah.
to a child at an
Because-
early stage, it grows up with that.
Because when beating a child and you're beating a child and blood started coming out, the child started bleeding, giving bruises and marks all over the body.
Look
it's-
at the case of this particular guy with bushes on his body. He was flogged. This is a child, and that's abuse.
Yeah.
See the wound on his body.
very,
Can you see the
very,
wound on his body?
it's too much. That is too much. You can see the burns and bruises all over. So those are psychological effects. And also another causes
Okay.
is immaturity in handling what life issues. Immaturity in the sense that the two parents are not ready, not for marriage though, but to cater for a family. To cater for a family, they are not ready. At a young tender age, if the parents are not matured enough, and they give birth to children, and the children are misbehaves, and if they're not matured enough to handle such matter, they might lose it, and in such a way abusing the rights of that child, and which is very, very, very bad. Very bad. The maturity in marriage affects the child negatively.
So such are not prepared on how to properly guide a child,
Yes.
how to nurture a child, thereby exposing them to abuse.
Yes.
Mental abuse. Mental abuse in what way? How can a child be exposed to mental abuse?
Depression.
Depression.
Depression
When the
is-
child is not given what is appropriate at the right time, all right,
Tends
that
to
can lead
get
to
depressed.
then verbal abuse.
Verbal abuse.
There are some things you
low
can
self-esteem
tell
as well.
a child, okay, you're not good enough, you're not
You're
good,
useless.
you're
Just
useless, all
kill the
that.
child's
So you have
self-esteem.
created a kind of mentality in the child that is useless. It goes with that mind of I am useless. The shooting that happened I'm trying to remember this school in Canada where this 21-year-old went and shot a school, no, it's in the US, went and shot school children, shot many of them. When in Indiana, was it in India? Oh, in Chicago, yes, it was in Chicago.
Yeah.
We learned that they are not Americans. The grandmother always compare him. Yes, and the boy is not really doing well. He's not really doing well in school. So the grandmother keeps comparing him and keeps. She doesn't encourage him at all. Always telling him how bad he is instead of encouraging him and advising him on the way to go. So the child has become depressed. And what did he do? He went to school because he doesn't do well in school. He has problem academically and he has become depressed. So what did he do? He went to school and started shooting. He went to school and started shooting. So that's to the extent that mental abuse can get to when you don't know the proper way to address your children, where they come from school and you're expecting more from them. Of course, it's good to let our children know that we expect better performance from them, but first we have to appreciate them. We have to appreciate them for letting them know their power and their mental ability to do more than what they are doing now. So if you encourage them, definitely you have motivated them, inspired them to do more. They'll be encouraged. They will have that self-motivation. They will have that mental strength to move on. Unlike the other parents who will always talk down on the child and compare them. This has adverse effects on the child. Okay, is it not someone who took first? You are this in the class. You are that in the class. That is child abuse. Yes, you have two heads. The child naturally may not show any any signs of having any problem at that particular moment, it's a seed
Big time.
that will boom
Yeah.
and explode
Later in future.
one day.
Mm.
Yes.
And also another cause of child abuse is abuse, drug abuse or substance abuse. You find out that there are some parents that use drugs. They like cocaine, they
Marijuana.
use marijuana. They use all these drugs,
Alcohol.
alcohol. They go out, they smoke, they drink, they come back, and they start misbehaving. So it's another serious cause of child abuse. I've once seen a father back then. Once he's returning from the beer parlor, you see him as he's entering. He starts hitting anybody he sees, whether the wife, the children. They just start misbehaving. So is one of the major cause of child abuse, and this has really brought about a lot of problems in the home, not just on the child alone, but generally in the home.
Have we talked about mental disorder?
Yes.
Mental disorder on the part of the parents, the guardian
Yeah, the guardian.
also can lead to abuse,
Yeah.
right? Because mental beating them and all that. And we did not. Our emphasis has been only on parents and relatives, neighbors. Neighbors also abuse children,
Yeah.
where other children also can bully and abuse other children.
Yes.
Teachers
Teachers in school. Yes.
teachers also abuse. The verbal abuse is there, the psychological, the
Yeah.
physiological,
The
sorry,
physiological, yeah.
yes,
The
beating,
physical abuse.
unnecessary beating, and also the sexual assault also takes place in the school.
Yeah.
Of course, we
Everywhere.
are not unaware of the happenings around us. The happenings at the premier school, Lugbe, where a child who lives in the hostel got pregnant,
Mm.
and what is it? Condom was found in the child. So the condom that was left in the child now made her to develop abscess, so an infection, all right, and she died. So that person doing that who is in that school, most likely a teacher, a security guard,
Yes.
all the hostel masters, somebody in that
Around
school,
the
somebody
environment.
around that environment.
Mm.
So it's not only parents, neighbors, even strangers. Strangers can adopt, molest children, abuse them.
Yeah.
Yesterday I was reading about the story of Hanifa in Kano, who was abducted by and killed by a school proprietor.
Yeah.
Hanifa was abducted, given child poison, and thank God justice. Yes, justice has been served. He's going to be hanged. So if we have more of that, if justice is meted out rightly, it will reduce these heinous acts. What else do you think we can do or can be done to reduce child abuse?
To reduce it. To
To
reduce
reduce
it.
child abuse, parents should have a way of listening to their children. They should be able to listen to their children and also be able to speak to their children. Everything is not all the offenses that a child commits or that requires battering, beating, assaulting. There are ways you can speak to a child. Boy, this thing you did is not good. Don't do it next time. Okay, there are ways parents can encourage and motivate their children. They should try to have a listening ear. Sometimes these children will even be crying, and they can't even pay attention. Then also, not just only parents, even teachers at school. There should be guardian counselors in schools where these children can be able to go and pour out their emotions, to pour out their hearts, what they feel. There are some children that have been abused in school by older senior students, or even prefects in school. They can just take them to a corner, and abuse is not just they can, when an adult is trying to take advantage of the sexual parts, or like fondling them, like playing with them, is also an abuse, even if there is no penetration. So there should be a way, a section in the school where we have guidance counselors, so these children can be able to pour out their heart, report any such cases. And there should be a teacher, maybe, yeah, a guardian counselor. I think that's their role, that's their work in schools.
Each teacher should be observant.
Should be
observant.
And also
watch the children psychologically.
observe them.
An abused child will always be withdrawn in a way.
Yes.
The two things I've observed as a teacher is that an abused child is usually hyperactive in a class,
Yeah.
destructive, or withdrawn.
Or depressed.
Yes,
Just
withdrawn.
stay
Low
So
self-esteem.
if you see a child like that,
always
you have
scared,
to
always-
calm down and understand the child.
Mm.
Make the child speak up
Speak
to
up.
know what the child
actually
is
is
going
going on.
through.
Yeah.
Then, if there is anything like that, you escalate to the school authority.
Yeah.
Yes, where appropriate measures can be taken.
So that's one of the way we can actually reduce. On the part of the home, the parents should be sensitive and learn to listen to their children, and also be able to find out signs, just like we've just pointed out, signs of identifying an abused child. Sometimes they can just come back home and they will decide not to eat for nothing's sake, know that they are sick. Are you okay? I'm fine. "Oh, I'm fine." How does, when you start getting I'm fine, and you know that they are not actually fine. So they should have, parents should be sensitive, teachers in school also should be sensitive. And also we should also have a way of stopping abuse when we see it. You know, there are sometimes maybe your neighbor is trying to abuse the child. Even if it's the child, you cannot have a way of calling the neighbor by the side. So this is too much. Why not reduce? So let's try to be speaking out whenever we see such. I think it will help.
Yeah, it will help. It will help. It will go a long way. At least when someone sees something that is wrong, that is bad, speak up. And if the parent is not taking correction, report to the child right. Because
Yeah.
it happened in my area. This woman, if she's angry, the way she beats her child is as if she's fighting her mate. She's fighting her mate. So one of the neighbor came out and said, if you continue this way, we're going to arrest you. If anything happened to her, we'll not just arrest you first, we'll beat you here first. That is, jungle justice is going to take place first before they will take her to the hospital. Before they will report her, not even to the hospital, report her to the police. So if we have people like that that stand against all these
NAPTIP is
forms,
there. NAPTIP
yeah,
is there, and they've been doing a lot,
yeah,
especially restoring the trafficked children
okay,
and youths. Yes, child abuse can also be reported to NAPTIP.
all right,
Yes, can be reported to NAPTIP. Most because of the economic depression,
yeah,
a lot of people are depressed, and they're just looking for a way of venting their anger. And the economic depression also is the reason for many divorce.
Yeah.
It's the reason for many divorce, loneliness, and all that.
And these are
Loneliness, and someone who is lonely, we want to vent the anger of the children. The husband has not been there for them. The husband has not been able to provide. So leading to depression on the part of the woman. A woman in the U.S., Olajide in the U.S., she drowned her own 40-year-old child for nothing. Depression.
mm.
That's depression. She drowned him in the bathroom. Yes, I think that's a result of depression.
Yeah,
So a lot of things like this are happening, in the society. And sometimes as a parent, you don't even know when you start beating them. When you start beating your child out of love, when you start beating them beyond spanking, something is wrong. That's an abuse.
Yeah.
Of course, there is this saying that spare not the rod.
Spoil the child.
Yes, you spare the rod, you spoil a child.
Yeah.
So Africans believe in overdoing it. And of course, our society is such that if you don't use the rod of these children, they won't
They
listen.
won't listen.
But still, we can still call them together. Even if you would beat, it should be once in a while. It should be once in a while, and the child will realize that he has really overstepped
Depending
his
on the
bounds.
offense.
So the beating should be out of love. You're not the one you keep beating and pouncing and giving
Yeah.
blows
Yeah.
to a child. No. Just some strokes. Just some strokes. And then the child will know that I really stepped my bound. The first and the last time my father ever beat me, he beats me just once. My father hardly beats. My mom is a disciplinarian, and she always expects that the next thing that she do should hit you, beat you. She expects that being a man, you should beat. He doesn't, and we enjoy his company. And as a matter of fact, we felt mom was our enemy.
Yeah.
Though, of course,
Yeah.
we have grown to be adults now, and we see the reason she's doing that. Though she took them to the extreme. The only day my daddy beat me was I went for a party in the evening, and my dad hates going out at night. So I went out for the party, and I was still out by 10 p.m. My mom came to call me, and by the time I got there, my father too was already outside waiting for me. Both of them were outside waiting for me. So as soon as I came, he was angry. And while my mom was berating me on being outside at that time, I tried to explain. The next day, my father gave me a dirty slap. That called me to that. He did not beat me again till he died. But after that day,
That's that.
till now, if you're doing any party that is beyond 6 p.m., you won't find me there. I'll be in my house. I don't like staying out at night. Alright, so even if we will beat, it shouldn't be something we'll do continuously like that. So it should be something that should be controlled, and we can do without it. If you give your children proper training, you can do without beating.
Yeah.
You can just even your body language can correct them.
Yeah.
Yes, if you give them proper training, your body language alone can correct them. Once they see the way you look, they will stop that thing they are doing. But it has to be an intentional training. There are people who don't wake their children by banging us. Like you see some when they want to wake their children in the morning. Tayo, go bring water, splash on them. But I've seen a friend, and he talked about. He said they don't have to beat their children before they wake them up. And when you get to their house, the children don't make a noise. You won't see any noise. They play gently when they want to call them. And I was there one day to see if it's true. He wanted to wake up the child, just called her. He just called him Isaac. Just called the name of the boy. And the boy called him closely. The boy woke up. The boy woke up. So because you want to wake a child now, you're waking them 5 a.m. Children, you're waking them 5 a.m. to prepare them for school. Then you are there eating them. The whole community hears that just because you want to wake him up. Is he dead? Is he dead? If you don't get up, pour water. The mother can even go in and get. That's why.
Still falls back to training.
Oh, so that's where we have a lot of people who are just emotionless, or give me that word. They're emotionless. They don't care. They're just indifferent. All right, they're just indifferent because that's the way their parents brought them up. Yes, if you are intentional about bringing them up, you're this kind of parent who do is you talk to them gradually. You have children who are cool-headed.
Yes.
But we are this, you shout and all of that. So before before they obey you, you have to shout.
Shout.
Yes.
Yes, no.
And if you have already trained them like that, if you don't use cane, they won't listen to you. And the time will come, they will get used to the cane.
Yes.
And as a matter of fact, the
They won't even be
cane makes
afraid of
them.
the cane again.
The cane makes them stubborn.
Yeah,
Yes,
they
they
become
become.
more
Yes,
stubborn
they
and
become
wild.
even more stubborn and wild with the cane. So the cane doesn't humble.
I've heard children saying it like, is it not cane?
So- So anything that can psychologically bring down a child, that can make them feel harassed, all right, think less of themselves, is abuse. Anything that will not make a child to achieve his full potential is an abuse. Yes. A lot of children are being abused today because of our government policy about education. Yes, the government also has a hand in this. It's not about parents, and I think parents too should give back to the number of children they can take care of.
That's
Very
it.
important.
Yes, so that you will
Seriously.
start getting angry when the bills
Seriously.
come. Yes.
That
If
is
it's
it.
one you can take care of,
Give back
it's
to
not
one.
written anywhere where you say you have to give out to 4, 5, or
Increase
6.
and multiply.
No.
It's according
No.
to your capacity.
Give
What
birth
you
to the
can
number
give
of
to
children you can take care of conveniently.
That's
You
the
can
point.
cater for their education.
That's the point.
You can clothe them, and you can protect them. You
Yeah.
can have time. It's time for them
Give them proper training.
and proper training.
I don't know if you guys have, seen this. The rich, they hardly give birth to more than 3.
Yeah.
Check it. Just
They
do
don't
a
give
scan.
birth to much children.
Like just try.
Right?
At most,
Think
4.
about it.
Why?
They give birth to children they know they can take care comfortably down to the tertiary education. Okay? The rich, they don't like give birth to 6 children or 7.
8.
But when you come down to the low class, the middle class, you see a man staying in a 1-room apartment, not even a self-con, face me and hit you.
Illiteracy
Him,
should be
the wife with 5 children or 6
Depression
children.
now. The
No,
only
it's even
thing
depression,
the
right?
only
It's
thing
even
they can
depression.
do
Illiteracy is also part of
is
it.
to have sex.
That's what they
He
do.
comes back with anger, pounds on the
Pounds on the
wife,
and
have
what-
sex
what
and
do you
sleep.
expect?
So,
Some of these people are not educated.
and the
Some of
woman,
them are not
most likely the
exposed.
woman doesn't work. The woman
And
is
the
always
woman
at
does-
home.
So that's it.
So they don't have plan. Because most of them, they just,
That's
at the end of
why
the day,
very poor
take them
mindset
to
as a lot
the
of-
public school, and when they are done with their SSC,
They
they
share
they
them.
leave them.
Even
They share
they
them or tell them to go and look for.
uncles. Even before they finish their secondary school, you find them being
Distributed.
distributed to various relatives. Even if some of them, they even go as far as giving it out to a stranger, giving their
Stranger.
children out to a stranger, total stranger they don't know, to cater for.
Some even sell out their
Oh.
children.
Children.
Some even sell out their children. Like that woman involved with Prophet Fufeyin, eventually, I don't know how to read this, but according to news, she eventually confessed that she sold the missing child. She sold it, and those people were, yes, those people were, I think, one of the criminal, of the suspects has been arrested. All right, so we can all help to control child abuse if we all look out, if we all become sensitive and observant.
Yeah.
We can help. We can help, ranging from child marriage, sexual flogging and beating, sexual abuse, and all that. We can all help to stop it if we are observant and vigilant. Parents should always should learn to come together and solve their differences, communicate and talk, so that their misunderstandings and differences will not always lead to
At the same
divorce.
time, yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the children are at the receiving end. And of course, consequently, these children are the adults of tomorrow. They grow up with this mentality. Thank you for your contribution on this show. Right, viewers, I want to know your opinion on this topic today. Kindly let's have your opinion in the comment section. If you're just joining us and you've not subscribed to this channel, kindly click on the subscription button today. It's just a click away, and turn on your notification button so that you can follow our videos and posts as they come daily. Thank you. Once again, my name is Lovely Carey, your anchor on Your Opinion and on Mate TV. Thank you.